They thought the little girl was cursed. They dragged her into the night, ready to cast her away. But just as the first blow was about to land, the wind howled, and a voice echoed from the shadows. "Do not raise your hands against my child." And there, before their very eyes, her dead mother rose from the grave. In the quiet village of Tsayagbaragba lived a girl named Ngohide. She was small, with bright eyes, but her heart carried a sorrow heavier than any load of firewood. For Ngohide's mother, Mlumin, had died when she was still very young. Her father, Iorwiz, tried his best to care for her, but grief had left him broken. As the years passed, the village children mocked Ngohide. They called her the girl without a mother. She walked alone to the stream, sat alone under the shade trees, and slept with tears on her mat. Still, Ngohide carried herself with quiet strength. She told herself, "If no one loves me, I will love myself." But in her heart, she longed for her mother's embrace. Sometimes at night, she whispered into the darkness, "Mama, do you still see me?" And though no one answered, a soft wind always seemed to brush her cheeks, as though the spirit of Mlumin still lingered close. One evening, while searching the old hut where her mother once slept, Ngohide discovered a small wooden box hidden beneath a cracked clay pot. Inside lay a pendant, round, carved with tiv patterns and faintly glowing in the dark. She held it close, and for the first time, she felt warmth spread through her chest. That night, she dreamt of her mother. Mlumin stood tall and radiant, her voice soft but commanding. "Ngohide, this pendant carries my spirit. Whenever danger comes, hold it tight, and I will be near." When she woke, Ngohide wept. The dream had felt so real, as if her mother had truly visited. From that day forward, she wore the pendant on a string around her neck. She did not yet know that this gift would one day save her life and reveal a love stronger than even death itself. Not everyone in Tsayagbaragba was happy to see Ngohide growing strong. Her aunt, Hembedun, the younger sister of Mlumin, often stared at the girl with sharp eyes. She envied how people still spoke kindly of Mlumin, while her own name was rarely mentioned. One afternoon, Hembedun hissed under her breath, "Even in death, Mlumin outshines me." And now this child walks around wearing her pendant as if she is special. Jealousy grew in her heart, like weeds choking a farm. She began to whisper to the villagers, "The girl is cursed. That pendant she wears, have you not seen how it glows? She is carrying something dangerous." Some people began to avoid Ngohide. Children were warned not to play with her. Mothers pulled their sons away when she passed by. And though she heard the whispers, Ngohide only held the pendant tighter, praying that her mother's spirit was truly with her. One night, while the moon hid behind clouds, Hembedun crept into Ngohide's hut. She carried a burning torch and a gourd of ashes. She muttered dark incantations, believing she could destroy the pendant and prove Ngohide was cursed. But as soon as her shadow touched the girl's mat, a sudden wind blew out her torch. The pendant on Ngohide's chest began to shine like fireflies. And in the glow, the faint shape of Mlumin appeared, her face calm but her eyes blazing. Hembedun dropped the torch and fled, screaming into the night. The villagers rushed out of their homes to find Hembedun shaking, her hair wild, her face pale. When they asked what happened, she stammered, "The dead." Mlumin walks in her hut. Fear spread quickly, but Ngohide slept peacefully, her mother's spirit keeping watch. The next morning, Ngohide went to fetch water from the stream. The other girls kept their distance, whispering and pointing. One of them sneered, "That is the girl whose dead mother follows her." Their laughter echoed, but Ngohide ignored them, filling her calabash quietly. As she bent to lift it, the water rippled though no stone had fallen in. A cool breeze swept across the surface, and in the reflection, Ngohide saw not just her face but the faint outline of Mlumin behind her, standing tall, watching. Startled, she almost dropped the calabash, but then she heard her mother's voice, soft as the wind. "Do not fear. You are never alone." The other girls noticed the sudden stirring of water, though the stream was calm everywhere else. They ran back to the village shouting, "The spirit of the dead is with her at the river." From that day, rumors spread faster than fire, and fear began to grow among the villagers. The whispers soon reached the ears of the elders. One evening, The village council gathered beneath the great Irako tree to discuss Ngohide. Some elders shook their heads. "This is dangerous," one said. "A spirit walking among the living? It could bring misfortune." But Toragundu, the oldest among them, raised his hand. "We must be careful. Mlumen was a good woman in her time. What if her spirit is only protecting her daughter? Do not let fear cloud your wisdom." Still doubt lingered in their eyes. Meanwhile, Hembedun stood in the shadows, listening with a smile. The more the council hesitated, the more she fueled their fear. That night, she whispered to the people, "If we do not stop Ngohide, her mother's spirit will bring death to this village." And slowly, the tide began to turn against the little girl. Hembedun's envy grew stronger with each passing day. She wanted Ngohide cast out, or better still, gone forever. One night, she visited a diviner in a nearby hamlet. The old man gave her a calabash filled with black powder and said, "Sprinkle this where the girl walks. If her spirit protection is false, she will waste away." With wicked eagerness, Hembedun returned before dawn. She poured the powder along the narrow path leading to the stream, muttering curses. Let the pendant fail her. Let her fall as dust. But when Ngohide walked that way later, clutching her calabash, the powder rose in a sudden swirl of wind. Instead of harming her, the dust turned into glowing fireflies that lit her path. Villagers who saw it gasped in fear and awe. To them, it was proof Mlumen's spirit truly walked with her daughter. That night, Ngohide sat outside her hut. She held the pendant in her palm and whispered, "Mama, are you truly here?" For a long moment, there was silence. Then the air grew warm, and a gentle glow formed before her eyes. Mlumen appeared, no longer a faint outline, but her full figure, dressed in the wrapper she was buried in. Her face was calm, her eyes bright. She spoke softly, "Yes, my child. I walk with you. Do not fear their hatred. Darkness can never defeat light." Ngohide's heart filled with both joy and sorrow. She longed to embrace her mother, but the spirit only reached out and touched her pendant. The glow grew brighter, and then Mlumen faded into the night. Unknown to Ngohide, several villagers had witnessed this from the shadows, and by morning, every tongue in Sayai Baragba was buzzing with tales of the ghostly mother who had returned. By sunrise, the village was in uproar. Some villagers whispered in trembling voices, "Mlumen has returned from the grave." Others muttered angrily, "No good comes from the dead walking among us." Children were warned not to go near Ngohide's hut, and mothers clutched their babies tighter when she passed. But not everyone was afraid. A few elders remembered Mlumen's kindness, how she had given food to the hungry and medicine to the sick. They argued, if her spirit walks, perhaps it is for good, not evil. Still, fear spreads faster than truth, and soon the council decided, Ngohide must be questioned. That evening, Toragunda sent messengers to summon Ngohide to the square. She was to appear before the council, and the whole village would be there to watch. The girl's heart trembled, but she remembered her mother's words. Darkness can never defeat light. The square was filled with villagers by the time Ngohide arrived. Torches burned brightly, and the great Irako tree cast long shadows across the gathering. Ngohide stood in the center, clutching her pendant. Her aunt, Hembedun, sat smirking at the edge of the crowd. Toragunda spoke first. "Ngohide, child of Mlumen, it is said that your dead mother walks among us. Is this true?" The people murmured and leaned closer. Ngohide's lips trembled, but she whispered, "Yes, she comes to me. She protects me." Gasps filled the air. At once, one of the younger elders slammed his staff on the ground. "This is abomination," he cried. "The dead must remain with the dead. She must leave, or misfortune will fall on us all." Others nodded, their voices rising. And just as the noise grew wild, a sudden wind swept through the square, snuffing out several torches. The crowd fell silent, their eyes wide with fear. The sudden wind that blew through the square carried a strange chill. People huddled together, their whispers sharp with fear. Ngohide gripped her pendant tightly, her eyes darting across the crowd. Then, from the darkness, a voice echoed, soft, yet clear enough for all to hear. "Do not raise your hands against my child." The villagers froze. Some fell to their knees. Others fled into the shadows, clutching their heads. A faint glow appeared near Ngohide, and for a heartbeat, Mlumen's form shimmered beside her. Her gaze swept across the crowd like fire, and though her lips never moved again, her presence was undeniable. Toragunda lifted his staff and cried, "This is no trick. The spirit of Mlumen walks among us. We must tread carefully, or we may invite wrath upon the village." But Hembedun, shaking with both fear and anger, shouted, "No, she is cursed. If we do not drive her away, none of us will see peace again." Hembedun's words sparked the people's uncertainty. Some villagers nodded, fear twisting their faces, while others shook their heads. Ngohide, trembling, cried out, "Why do you hate me so, Aunt? Have I wronged you?" But Hembedun's eyes were filled with bitterness. "It should have been me," she hissed. "It should have been me that the spirit loved, not you. Why does your dead mother walk for you and not for me?" Her jealousy spilled into the open for all to see. At that moment, the ground beneath her trembled, and the pendant in Ngohide's hand flared with light. Mlumen's voice boomed, louder this time. "You have spoken wickedness, Hembedun. Jealousy blinds your heart, but truth cannot be hidden." The villagers gasped, their fear now mixed with awe. For the first time, many began to wonder. Perhaps Ngohide was not cursed at all, but chosen. That night, the villagers gathered once more under the great Irako tree, restless and divided. Some whispered prayers, others sharpened sticks, afraid of what might come. Ngohide sat quietly, clutching the pendant, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. Then the air grew heavy, and the ground shook slightly. A soft light rose from the earth near Ngohide. Slowly, it took shape until Mlumen stood in the midst of the square. Her wrapper flowed like water, her face radiant yet sorrowful. She looked upon the crowd, and all fell silent. Even the crickets stopped singing. "I was your sister, your friend, your neighbor." Mlumen's voice rang clear. "Did I harm any of you in life? Then why do you now raise your voices against my daughter? She is innocent. I walk with her not to curse, but to protect. Will you drive away light and embrace darkness?" No one moved, no one spoke. The villagers stared at the spirit, trembling. Then an old woman stepped forward. It was Ivrin, who had once been healed by herbs Mlumen prepared. Tears streamed down her face as she bowed low. "Forgive us, Mlumen. Fear blinded us. We forgot your goodness." Her words broke the silence. One by one, other villagers knelt. Some wept openly, others clutched their children, whispering blessings toward Ngohide. The fear that had held them for so long began to melt. But Hembedun stood stiffly, her face twisted. "No, she deceives you all. This is witchcraft. If we allow this child to remain, we will all perish." Her voice shook, yet her pride kept her standing. Mlumen turned her glowing eyes toward her sister and said, "It is jealousy that perishes, not truth. Your hatred will consume only you." The crowd murmured, shifting uneasily, for the spirit's words struck deep into their hearts. The night air grew still as Mlumen's words lingered over the crowd. Hembedun's face twisted with rage, yet her legs trembled beneath her. She tried to speak, but no sound left her lips. The villagers turned from her, their eyes now on Ngohide, who stood quietly with tears streaming down her cheeks. Mlumen lifted her hand and touched her daughter's shoulder gently. "Ngohide," she said, her voice soft now, "you must not live in fear. My time among the living is ending, but my love will never leave you. Wear this pendant always, and remember, light can never be hidden by darkness." The pendant glowed brightly, then dimmed, settling into Ngohide's palm like a quiet flame. With those words, Mlumen's form began to fade, her radiance rising toward the stars. The villagers bowed their heads as a gentle wind swept the square, carrying her presence away. For a long moment, silence reigned. Then Toragunda lifted his staff and declared, "From this day, Ngohide is under the protection of the ancestors. No harm shall come to her." The people shouted in agreement, some with tears, others with relief. Even children smiled, unafraid at last. Hembedun, consumed by her own bitterness, slipped away into the shadows, her heart heavy with shame. But Ngohide stood tall, pendant in hand, her spirit strong. And so it was said in the village, A mother's love is stronger than death itself.